Folks, many of us were shocked and stunned today when TMZ reported that Malcolm-Jamal Warner drowned in Costa Rica while vacationing with his family. He was 54 years old. Of course, those of us who are in Gen X grew up watching Malcolm-Jamal Warner as Theo on the Cosby Show, airing from 1984 to 1992. Of course, that show broke barriers, portraying a successful black family and resonated with millions of viewers every single week. He later built a steady career as an actor, director, podcast host, and also a musician. He was with his family in Costa Rica on vacation. Authorities there say a strong current pulled him under, and despite rescue efforts, he didn't make it. He died of asphyxia. He was a native of New Jersey, began acting at the age of 9 years old, and again, Theo was his breakout role. He leaves behind a wife, daughter, and a legacy that touched generations. So many people have been posting their tributes on social media. And I must say, the reason I think this hits differently, Omekongo, Larry, and Niambi, is because when we often talk about individuals that passed away, typically they were from the previous generation. When you think about Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, when you think about Cicely Tyson, and I can go on naming others, but it's a lot different when it's someone that's frankly around a lot of our ages, who we all watched, who we all looked at growing up, who a lot of us met. I remember 2010, he co-hosted the Trumpet Awards with Nicole Ari Parker, and I was also a co-host along with Lisa Ray. And I remember cracking a joke with him on stage because, Malcolm had this. I never forget, it was, matter of fact, I got to hit Don Jackson, try to get the video for y'all. And so we were, it was so funny because, so Lisa Ray and I were on this side of the stage, and Malcolm and Nicole were on that side of the stage, and Malcolm turns to Nicole and he goes, "Nicole, I must say you look ravishing," in his really deep voice. And I go, "Hey, Malcolm, this is a Black Award show." I said, "This is how we do it." I turned to Lisa Ray, I say, "Damn, you fine." Audience cracked up laughing. He and I had a huge laugh backstage about that, just messing with him. But again, it hits different when there's someone who you grew up watching. And so when they were he was on playing a high school character, those of us, we were still in high school as well. And so that's what it was like.
Yeah, man, this is definitely tough. I mean, when you look at, the Cosby Show coming out in 84, I mean, at that particular time, there was no young black son on television really at that time. Like Family Matters and other shows came in like the late 80s. And so it was just him. And someone so close to our age growing up, watching him. And one of the things that he did, I mean, outside of the Cosby Show, he did a lot to raise awareness about AIDS and so many other projects. But through the Cosby Show and Cosby and the television work he was doing, he became he shined a light on dyslexia and learning disabilities. Became an educator in the classroom. Was devoted to his girlfriend, showing that black love with Justine and the like. So he was just a role model in real time for us on so many different levels. And even after that, with the spoken word and everything that he was doing. And I feel like many of us who didn't know him, like just kind of took him for granted because he just represented greatness in every way, shape, and form. And, Roland, my mom passed out on June 6th. And one of my fondest memories is watching the Cosby Show, with her and my dad and my siblings. They just brought families together. And I just want to commend him for having a dignified career just throughout his entire time. And we just got to show him the love. People don't need to be out there talking about black people need to swim, learn how to swim. You get caught up in one of these currents, you can be the greatest swimmer ever, and it doesn't matter. So let's get that nonsense out of there. My thoughts go out to his family, his wife, his daughter, and we just lost a legend of our own time. And so you are right, Roland. It does hit differently. Rest in peace and power.
And certainly a condolences to you and your family for the loss of your mom. You're right. He did have dyslexia, of course, and Bill Cosby's son Ennis also had dyslexia, so they wrote that into the episode. And to his point, Niambi, that's why I think when you see this reaction, I mean, not obviously a peer, 54 years old, I'm 56, other folks who in their early 50s or even older. but also just so unfortunate. Being there on vacation with his family in Costa Rica. And what immediately brought me to mind, 2015, Johnny Kemp was supposed to perform on the Tom Joyner Morning Show cruise. I was actually on that cruise and was walking along the rocks in Jamaica, fell, hit his head, and drowned. Then, and then, of course, I was only 3 years old when it happened, but Whitney Young, who was the president and CEO for a decade of the National Urban League, was swimming with friends in Lagos, Nigeria, and he drowned the same way. And so certainly that also brought back memories of that when this news came out.
Yeah, and I think, for many of us, we grew up with Malcolm-Jamal Warner on our television for decades. I was a very young kid when Cosby Show came out, and it was must-see TV. It was somewhere to rush. And Theo Huxtable was, like many people, my first crush. And to just see him live such an amazing, full life, and didn't fall into many of the traps of like the child star that unfortunately had claimed so many of his peers. It's just, it's always unfortunate when you lose someone, particularly when you lose someone that's so young and so vital and that had, still so much to offer. And I feel especially sorry for his young child and his wife, who are now having to imagine a life without him, because this was, I'm sure, supposed to be joyous and rejuvenating, and it's now turned into one of the worst moments of their life. But I surely don't want his life to be defined by the tragedy that is his death, because he certainly had so much in him creatively that he shared with all of us so graciously and so openly. And at the end of the day, I think that's all that any artist wants to be able to do. So we definitely continue and will continue to remember and appreciate Malcolm-Jamal Warner for what he gave us.
And Larry, again, it's one of those things where you saw someone literally grow up before your very eyes on television while you were also growing up as well. And that was the case, whether it's Lisa Bonet, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Keisha Knight Pulliam. It's always crazy when I'm out somewhere and I see Keisha Knight Pulliam and you're like, yo, that's Rudy. And again, that's someone who you remember who was a small child, similar in age to my sisters, but then you see this person on air, and that's really what it was. And I think that's why when this thing hit, it was so difficult for a lot of people to comprehend.
This hit a lot of us of a certain age really hard today, Roland. There's no doubt about it. And listen, his role was like iconic. Let's call it what it was. The Gordon Gartrell, episode is a TV classic. In addition to that, he had a great career after that. We talk about the trappings of child actors, but he played a physician among other roles in sitcoms, etc. So he had an extraordinary career. And, I remember, as his character was having struggles in school. And listen, I was never a great student until I got to college. So I really appreciated that, to see that from, highly educated family, that, not all those kids followed the same path, even though eventually, as they wrote in the story, he figured things out. But I really identify with that character. And like you said, many of us, watched that show, and because it was definitely, it was new, fresh, and we had never really seen anything like that before. But like I said, his role was iconic. I would send, all my condolences to his family, his wife, his daughter, and all those other family. But we're all impacted by this because, like I said, he played an incredible role for many of us who watched the show.
Indeed. Again, Malcolm-Jamal Warner passes away swimming in Costa Rica, dies at the age of 54. Condolences to his friends and family. We'll have more on his tragic death in his life on tomorrow's show.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.